Hello everybody, this is Dr. Samuel again, and in this video we continue with the solutions to the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examination for Mathematics held in July 2021. And we are on question number 7. And this is a series and sequences question. The question reads, the first 3 figures in a sequence of shapes formed by connecting lines of unit length are shown below. And so you are given these 3 figures, which represents a sequence of figures. So the first part of the question says to draw figure 4 in the pattern in the space provided. So to draw figure 4, you need to figure out the pattern of the sequences, which is very clear, because you can see in figure 1, you have the base shape, which looks like a small house. In figure 2, you have 2 of these stuck together. Figure 3, you have 3 of these, and figure 4, you have 4 of these. So all you have to do is to draw the 4th figure with those 4 stuck house shapes. So, but you must draw it the same size. Okay, the same size. So therefore, let's do it right now. I'll start drawing the base line. Each of the unit shapes, the baseline is 2 units. So if you have, in the 4th figure, you have 4 unit shapes, so the baseline should be 8 units. So I'll start here and I'll draw the baseline 8 units, 2, then 4, then 6, and then 8. Then you have the squares. Each square is 2 square units. So I'm going to draw 4 squares stuck together, obviously. I've drawn the 4 squares, and now we draw the top triangles. And you can see the height of the triangles is just less than the 2 units long. So we'll draw those 4 triangles. So the 4 triangles are drawn, and the 4th figure is now completed. So part A is done. We can now move on to part B. Part B reads, the number of lines L in each shape and the perimeter P of the shape follow a pattern. So they're referring to the same sequence of shapes. The number of lines, for example, in the first shape, the number of lines is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. That's the number of lines. And the perimeter is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do that for each shape. Continuing, study the pattern of numbers in each row of the table below and answer the questions that follow. And you have to complete the table below, showing the number of lines and the perimeter of each figure. So we have to study this table and complete it. We don't have to go back to the diagram. All we need to do is figure out the pattern or the patterns. So figure 1 has 6 lines, perimeter 5. Figure 2, 11 lines, perimeter 8. Figure 3, 16 lines, perimeter 11. We were not given figure 4, but we have to fill in the number of lines and perimeter for figure 5. So let's go to the number of lines. Let us study the pattern. We can see that for each figure, the number of lines increases by 5. 6 plus 5, 11. Then 11 plus 5 is 16. So for the 4th figure, you'll have 16 plus 5, 21 lines. But you don't put that because you will not ask that. So the fifth figure will be 21 plus 5, and so you will get the answer as 26 lines. So you just have to figure out the pattern. Let's now go to the perimeter and see if we can figure out a pattern here. First figure, the perimeter is 5. Second, perimeter is 8. Third, perimeter is 11. So you can see you're adding 3 all the time. So figure 4, the perimeter will be 11 plus 3, 14. And figure 5, the perimeter will be 14 plus 3. So the answer here would be 17. So let's go down. And now we are given just the number of lines for this row. And we have to figure out the figure number and the perimeter. But the best way to do this is to leave it out for now and go on to the figure n, which is normally the last row, and figure out an expression using n for the number of lines and the perimeter. So we have to go back and figure out an expression in terms of n for the number of lines, where n is the figure number. Now, the logical way to do this is this way. Look at the difference between the number of lines for each figure, and you get 5. 6 plus 5, 11. 11 plus 5, 16. So you're going to start the expression with 5n. And then you have to figure out what number do we add or subtract from 5n to get the number of lines. So let's look at figure 1. 5n will be 5 times 1, 5. So you have to add 1 to 5n to get 6. Figure 2, 5n is 5 times 2, 10. And you add 1 to get 11. Figure 3, 5 times 3 is 15. You add 1 to get 16. So we can see the expression for the number of lines is 5n plus 1. And now we go to the perimeter and do the same thing. The perimeter increases by 3 all the time. So we start this with 3n. And we figure out what do we add to 3n to get the perimeter. 3 times 1 is 3, and we add 2 to get 5. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So therefore, this is 3n plus 2. So we have filled in the last row. We can now go back to the incomplete row where the number of lines is 66. So what is the figure number? We know the figure number is n. So 5n plus 1 for that row equals 66. And so we have an equation that we can use to find n, and this will be the figure number. So let's do it. 5n plus 1 equals 66. We bring over the 1 and we get 5n is 66 minus 1, which is 65. And therefore n would be equal to 65 divided by 5. We divide by 5 on both sides, and we're going to get the answer as 13. 65 divided by 5 is 13, which means the figure number here is 13. So we go to the perimeter. The perimeter now is 3n plus 2, but we know n is 13. So 3n is 3 times 13, which is 39, and 39 plus 2 is 41. And we are filling the table, and that is part B completed. We'll now move on to part C. Part C reads, write a simplified expression in terms of n for the difference d between the number of lines and the perimeter of any figure n. Difference means subtraction, so therefore we simply subtract the number of lines minus the perimeter, and we get the answer. So therefore D equals 5n, that is the number of lines, it is 5n plus 1, and we take away 3n plus 2. Now we are taking away 3n plus 2, not just 3n. It means we must write the 3n plus 2 in the brackets. This is a common mistake students make, so make sure you understand that. When you take out the bracket, you get 5n minus 3n, so this will give you 2n. And 1 minus plus 2 is a minus 2. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. And that is the expression we want, and that is part C completed. So we have finished number 7, and we have finished section 1 of the exam paper. In the next video, we will move on to the first question in section 2, that is number 8. So if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, or you can press the like button or share the video. See you next time.